Well, good day and welcome back to the channel, folks. Thank you for joining me. I'm here on a lovely local stretch of river where I've made a film before, actually doing some autumn maggot feeder fishing, and I'm going for a bit of an experiment really, more than anything. So as you can hopefully see, the weather today is absolutely gorgeous. Winter is soon going to be leaving us and we're getting into spring. So the sun is out today and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to get out on the bank and see if we can catch some fish. Now the river is still a little bit chalked up from where we've had a lot of flooding, but I'm hoping today that I can still draw some fish in with my bait and hopefully get a bite or two. Now you'll have seen me throwing out a little bit of bait this morning, and I'm following advice from my favourite angler, Des Taylor. Now Des did an amazing video on river fishing for chub, and in that video he spoke heavily about not spooking off the fish straight away. So by casting your rod out straight away, there's a chance that if you hook up early, you could just spook all the fish out of the swim immediately. And he recommended actually getting some bait in the water, leaving it for half an hour and then casting out, getting the fish in, letting them be confident in feeding, and therefore making it much easier to keep the fish in the swim. It's a lovely theory. Let's test it out today and see if we have any luck. Now, as I said a moment ago, in my previous film on this river, I'd used a maggot feeder, my most consistent baiting technique on rivers, and I had a pretty good luck. I caught some bream, some roach, an eel even, but today I thought I'd mix it up. I didn't have time to go to the tackle shop yesterday, so I have no maggots with me today, but what I do have is some household items. So a tin of sweet corn, which has always been a coarse angler's classic. Morning. Morning. And I've also got some cat food, which I've soaked overnight in some water just to kind of soften it up and plump it up, which turns it into a bit more of a ground bait consistency. So I can chuck that out with the sweet corn and get the fish into the swim. So I've thrown a load of that out and hopefully that'll bring the fish in, because this cat food is super stinky, super oily. So hopefully that has a lot of attraction. I've also brought with me a separate bag of corn. Now the reason I do this is because corn can be quite wet and quite soft as a hook bait, and what I tend to do is take a section of my tin of sweet corn and leave it in the fridge uncovered to kind of air dry, and the cold air in the fridge essentially dries that sweet corn out a little bit, makes it go a little bit firmer, a little bit tackier and stickier, which is perfect for your hook baits. And what I've even done is added a little bit of kind of garlicky flavour to this to give it a bit more attraction in the water. So cat food and sweet corn is my kind of feed, and sticky garlic sweet corn as my hook bait. That's the theory today. I've not done it before on this river, so we shall see. Now when I arrived, there were a few anglers down on a different stretch who were fishing with kind of meat and bread for chub, but this is the stretch that I like. Now I have seen a few swells out in the middle where I normally fish, which is a great sign. So what I've done is I've baited right on top of where those swells were, keeping the fish in the area hopefully, and I'll give that half an hour and then we'll get our rods out. So the shades have gone on as I'm facing the sun now on the opposite riverbank, but I've seen a couple little swirls, one big swirl right on top of where I've been baiting up, which is good. It's not quite like summer fishing where if you're on the fish, they're feeding in a bit of a frenzy and you're seeing swirl after swirl after swirl. I even had a lot of swirls in autumn, but it's obviously a lot colder, the fish are less active. So to see any kind of swirls, I've just seen another one out there, is good news. It's good news. I know that fish are kind of in the area. Now I'm just fishing with a single rod today. I've got my Daiwa Matchman 11-foot feeder rod with a spool of 6-pound mono on it, just because there are some reportedly large chub in here and potentially carp. Not that I've seen, but there is potential, and I just want to be prepared in case there is anything like that that takes my sweet corn. Of course, I'm more likely to be catching kind of smaller silvers, bream, things like that. I'd love to catch a chub today, but we will see. Yeah, this is just about right. Sits in the middle, kind of somewhere thereabouts for some of these smaller fish, as well as being suitable in case I do hook into something a little bit bigger. Now I've already got a rig on from my previous fishing trip, Essentially all I've got tied on is a line stop with a quick change swivel where I can attach feeders, small leads, whatever I like, and then a hook length down to a size 12 hook. It's a very standard rig that I run. But I think today what I'm going to do is actually use corn straight on the hook, very simply, and tie on a small 1 ounce little pear lead onto my quick change swivel just to help me get cast out into the middle there. I don't need a feeder because I've got no maggots or anything like that, and I don't need a method feeder or anything like that because I'm not using that kind of tactic. I'm simply squeezing up some ground bait and casting it out. And if I really want to, I could squeeze some of that ground bait, cat food and sweet corn around my lead and when I cast out. But I think for now I'm just going to try getting some hook bait on, getting a little pear-shaped lead out and getting out into the middle where I've seen these swells. It's been about 15 minutes now since I started feeding up, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer, take my time to set my rig up, and then we'll get cast out. Got a little pear lead I can slide on here, and I've actually got this little line stop so that the lead can run up and down the line but doesn't go down my hook length. So very simple setup. And we want a piece of our stinky corn. It looks nice and plump. I'm going to hook through the top, slide it through. So we've got 2 bits of skin, and there's our hook bait there. It's been about half an hour now, so we're going to get our rod cast out. Just bang on where I was feeding. Taps here, which I'd like to say are bites, but it could just be liners. See how consistent they are. Give it a few minutes, and if there's no more interest, maybe I'll bring it back in and recast with some new hook bait. Now I've certainly had a fair few liners today, but the good news about having liners, although they're not necessarily around your hook bait, it means they're somewhere in between where you're cast and the bank. So I can slowly work my way backwards from where I've been casting to find exactly where those fish might be if they're crossing that line all the time. So I'm probably going to bring my rod back a couple feet from where I've been casting just to see if maybe there's some more fish there. So since the wind has died down, we had about 40 minutes of solid breeze. The wind has died down, the sun's come out and blue skies are back. I've seen so much action now. Down here right in front of me where I've been feeding loose corn, there's been a bit of action, so that's kind of my last resort area, is just like right here in front of me. But still out where I'm feeding, there is swirl and swirl and swirl. And you know what they say, when you're biting up here, they're biting down there. So yeah, tuck into our lunch. Don't know if you saw that silver jump just there. So I've just reeled in to find my hook bait missing, which is a good sign. I've also just found myself a little worm in the ground. I'm wondering whether maybe I should try that, see if that gives me any more luck with a little bit of movement on my bait. Well, I'm certainly having a tough time of it, folks. I've now lost 4 fish this morning, and you know, there's fish absolutely everywhere in the swim. There's fish jumping right in front of me, and I still haven't managed to hook into one properly, so having a little bit of a tricky time. However, it's the end of February, it's 17 degrees outside, it's blue skies, the birds are singing, you know, the ducks are swimming, squirrels jumping between trees. I can sit here and relax and properly take in all of my surroundings and just enjoy the day. And I also get to enjoy a homemade chocolate brownie from last night. Oh yeah. Well, I'll be honest folks, it looks like I'm on for a blank, which obviously happens to everyone. It's now 2:30 and not seen so much as a sniffle really in this afternoon. I've tried worms, I've tried bread, I've tried fishing up off the bottom, kind of higher up in the water column to hopefully catch the fish that are higher up because of the sun, and nothing seems to be doing the trick. I spoke to the guy further down and even he's not had anything out today. It just seems to be one of those days, folks, and I've never uploaded a blank and I don't plan on uploading lots of them. I've filmed 3 or 4 blanks in the last 6 months or so and they've never seen the light of day. But I think it's important to be honest and open and show you that fishing isn't always that easy. You know, this is the real deal. Well folks, as you've just seen, unfortunately I've just hooked into a fish and lost it. So it's been a pretty tough day in the office. 4 fish on, none of them landed. Pretty rough. But I can go home now, get the kettle on, watch a movie, enjoy my evening, and I can get back out here tomorrow and try again. And it just gives me even more encouragement to catch tomorrow. So I'll leave the video there. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.